Welcome back to Smooth Talk, everybody. We want to give a quick thank you for everybody that's been liking and subscribing. We also want to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. We're going to go with Steve from Showcase Sedalia for all your best advertising needs for Sedalia. They reach for over 14,000 followers and families throughout Sedalia and more. If you need to get a hold of Steve, the number is 816-448-1474.
And we also want to give a quick shout out to our first sponsor, Bob and Amy at Forever 10 Gaming. We want to thank you all very much. They are located here in Sedalia. Reach them if you need anything as far as like playing cards, playing mats, boxes, sleeves, anything like that. They can hook you up. They're a wonderful group up there. Once again, thank you, Bob and Amy at Forever 10 Gaming. You can reach them at 660-851-2201. Once again, that is Forever 10 Gaming, 660-851-2201. And also, we want to give a quick shout-out to Brian Caldwell at GNC Sedalia and Osage Beach. We want to thank him very much for being another sponsor. Like I say, if you need anything from GNC, give us a shout here at 660-826-7003. That's me and John up here in Sedalia. Or you can reach Brian and Christian down at Osage Beach at 573-302-7415. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Now, today's guest has an amazing story. We've been waiting for it.
Incredible story. This is insane.
I can't wait to get into this and talk with you. Today's guest is going to be Mr. Chris Fischer.
Hey, all right. That's right.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a pleasure.
You blew me up this amazing story thing. Now I can't disappoint.
Yeah.
Well, let's just start and get right into it because I know we have some stuff that we were talking about a little bit before this, and we got some stuff we want to cover. So, but we'll just let's tell us about yourself. Tell everybody about you.
Absolutely. So my name is Chris Fischer. I live here in Sedalia with my wife, Sandra. We own a small business here, SC Fuel or SC Fuel Meals. A lot of you might know us by, where we offer healthy meals to go, basically.
Heck yeah. And that's awesome. And like that, we have all used them, and they are amazing.
Appreciate
Now,
that.
are you the mastermind? Are you the one that comes up with the recipes, or is it the wife?
I'm not even close. She's the talent.
Oh, there you go.
I'm basically a glorified cashier, and
Hey, that's all right.
I tell everybody I'm the pretty face behind the
You're
business.
the face behind it. There you go.
That's not really true either. But no, actually, my wife Sandra, she's very talented when it comes to this, and she 100% all the recipes, figuring the macros on the meals, making sure that they work for our business model, making sure that they're not only healthy but they taste great. That she gets all the credit.
Yeah, and both of y'all do a wonderful job. It is
Appreciate
absolutely amazing stuff. And we'll get into more of that here in a little bit later.
Sure.
But, kind of like John was talking, like tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about early days. Where are you from? Are you from around here? Or?
I was born and raised in Ponca City, Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner.
There you go.
I had to throw that in
Okie.
there.
All right. That's okay. That's all right.
But I graduated high school, ended up in Wichita, Kansas for a long time, 15, 16 years. Actually worked as a bail bondsman in Wichita for 15 years, back when dogs found it.
Oh, dog.
So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Back in them good old
Then,
days.
got 3 kids, 1 son and 2 daughters that are both in college, and ended up, so long story short, went through a divorce, moved to Kansas City, basically started all over in my 40s, 2014, met my wife, Sandra, we hit it off. She showed me Sedalia, Missouri. I'd never been here before.
Yeah.
Actually took me to Lincoln for the first time, and it was a little small for my taste. I was used to living in a town of 300,000 or 400,000 people.
Exactly.
But
Very
anyway,
caution light around
and
them
here I
parts.
am. So she ended up putting up with me, and now we best friends, husband and wife, and business partners.
The bounty hunter part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have been on a huge kick with watching YouTube and bounty hunters, and I don't think that people understand how stressful of a job that can be, but also some of it starts to make sense because you're a very physical person. And it's one of those where it's like, I wonder where his passion from like working out came from. And so kind of putting the connection to early days, well, I'm sure if you're having to go after people, it's physically demanding. What was that like?
Yeah, absolutely. It obviously, the younger I was, the more exciting it was. Once I started getting older, basically the way bail bonds or bounty hunting works to me is we did both. Uh, we would bail people out of jail; they would pay a percentage of their bail. But when they didn't show up for court, we would have to go find them, and introduce them to the court, or put them back in jail. A bail bondsman doesn't like doing that part of the job because if you can't find people, then you have to pay the court money to cover their bond.
Oh, okay.
So
See, I didn't know that either.
You love bonding them out because they pay you to bail them out, but you're guaranteeing the court that they're going to show up in court. So the bounty hunting thing it was very stressful. Not because the job was dangerous, or, I mean, it could be, but I always did my job. But there were definitely dangers involved with some of it. But you didn't want to lose. There was such a financial risk in that job. So it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week stress.
Was there any like physical altercations you ever got into, or were most people compliant for the most part? How did that kind of work?
There were some physical altercations. I would say percentage wise, I mean, probably less than 10. Because I never chose to carry a firearm because I didn't want to naturally escalate the situation.
Right.
We tried to always de-escalate situations, never personal, and we always had numbers when we would have to apprehend a defendant or suspect, because when you have numbers, it doesn't make them as much for somebody to get hurt. So we didn't want our guys to get hurt. We didn't want the defendant to get hurt. But yeah, there was definitely some. We had guys that hid in the attic and they fell through the ceiling trying to hide from us.
Right.
We've had to crawl into crawl spaces and drag guys out, things like that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good. Trust me, I get away from it too, so it's all good. Right. But yeah, I mean, that's amazing. So like whenever you was into that kind of a business, which, I mean, it's stressful. It's, I'm sure it's time consuming and everything.
Right.
What was probably like your biggest worry in that? I mean, was it always like in the financial aspect, or was it, harmful for you or for your guys or anything like that?
I never worried about getting hurt or anything. I was always aware and I was always safe, safe as you could be.
Right.
But you definitely had to take risks. We did things. I mean, there were times you follow a fugitive into another town, and almost like you see on TV, the only time you can get them is when they pull up to a stoplight and their car stops, and you have to jump out of the car and go pull them out of the car before they take off again, because you might lose them.
Now,
but the most stressful part of the job was definitely that deadline you have once somebody misses court, to find them and get them back into custody before you go before the court and explain to the judge where they're at or why they're not in custody, and before they take judgment on you for the amount of the person involved.
Now, how far have you had to go to catch somebody? Like, do you travel a ways to get them, or is there a region?
We did used to. I mean, let's see. I was a bail bondsman in Wichita, Kansas. So, but we traveled. I mean, California, New Mexico, Arkansas, just Colorado.
Oh, you went all over the place.
Yeah, we had, and not a lot. Most of the time, most of the people, some of the ones that would skip bond on us weren't too bright. So most of them, it's a kind of a joke with bail bondsmen. They're either at mommy's house or girlfriend's house, and they're hiding under the bed or in a closet full of laundry, or trying to sneak out the back door. So it's not. Most of the time, that's what it ends up being. They don't leave town. Now, some of the more bigger, serious bonds that we did, yeah, some of those guys would try to skip town. There was always somebody willing to give you information, and you just had to know how to talk to people.
So whenever you was doing that, like, so if you had somebody you was going after, like you had those numbers, that's your cat.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things where it's like when you have that number and that's the guy you're after, is that your guy regardless? Or is it one of those things where it's like if there was, just say he was, of course, you're trying to catch him and everything, but what if somebody else in a different district was to catch him? Would they have to get a hold of you to come get him?
Usually, so, and I'm not sure, it's been a while since I was in this business, but the way the laws were, there were very vague laws when it comes to bail bondsmen or bounty hunters. As long as we had somebody out on bail and they skipped court on it, you did not have to have a warrant to go in their house if you had reasonable suspicion that they were there.
Okay.
So were police weren't able to do that without a warrant or a welfare check. We were able to do that. Obviously, you had to couldn't abuse that authority. You had to be responsible. But say I bond somebody out in Sedalia, which I've never been a bondsman here, but say I bailed somebody out in Sedalia, they missed court on me, and they got pulled over on a warrant in Kansas City and they're in custody. It's up to me to go before the judge and let the judge know and show the judge proof to say, hey, there's no way I can produce them here because they're actually in custody in another county.
Oh, okay.
Then it's up to the DA here in this jurisdiction to put a hold on that person in that other county so that before they get released, they would, depending on their charge, the court here would decide whether to extradite them, whether it's worth it to extradite them here or not.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand bounty hunter and that terminology because even then, some of the stuff I watch, they'll be like, you don't have any rights here, this is private property, and it's like, this is where the defendant put their address on the paperwork, which automatically gives you probable cause to search the premises.
Absolutely.
And I think that goes overlooked so much in all the episodes I've watched because they're like, no, this isn't his place. They put it down on the address.
Or the person that answers the doors calls the police thinking the police are going to remove you from the address when in fact the police show up and they say he has every right to go in the house and search for Joe Blow.
The best one I watched, he called the house like a minute out from it. Yeah. And the guy picked up, said, oh, yeah, this is me. Yeah. And then they show up, and they're like, you don't have any right. He's not here. And they're like, come on.
It's like, he answered the phone.
Part of the fun is when you deceive somebody to try and catch them or, you tell them, you forgot to fill out your paperwork. I need you to come into the office. And they miss court, and they actually show up. And then they get there. You lied to me. Well, you lied to me the day you missed court. Like you didn't fulfill your obligation. And it's always, I was going to turn myself in the next day.
Well, of course. Every time. I was on my way.
For me, the worst part of the job was when I had to arrest people that in front of their small children and things like that. And I saw the way that they were living and the conditions, how they treated their family. It made it a lot easier for me to put them back in jail.
Exactly.
And there is a difference between, so we were our own bounty hunters. So we were bail bondsmen. There are some strictly bounty hunters that they do just get paid to go pick people up. So I could have hired outside bounty hunters to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but we did both. But there are, like a lot of the shows you see, they're not actually bail bondsmen. They don't bond the people out, but they do get hired by the bail bondsmen.
That makes a lot of sense,
absolutely.
Actually, yeah.
That was a long time ago, though. I'm way past those days. I'm in a much less exciting field now.
Oh, but we like to hear about it.
I'm sure it's a lot less stressful, too, though.
Yeah. Well,
maybe at times.
Different kind of stress.
Different stress. There you go. There you go. Exactly.
Well, I want to get into the hot topic, okay? Now, some people, who I may call ignorant, may call it a disability, but we know you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing holding you back.
Right.
We have the utmost respect.
Maybe up here sometime.
You are the epitome of no excuse.
Yeah,
but
appreciate that. Thank you.
And so, but one of the things that we got to ask, because a lot of people don't know, they want to know the situation with your body, how that kind of came to be. We respect you, like I said, with the utmost respect. It's just one of those questions that a lot of people, instead of going up, maybe trying to ask you, they're nervous. They want us to ask those questions. Right. So bring it to the light for some people. Absolutely.
I have no problem talking about it. I have people that ask me all the time, and I know there's people that are curious. So I'm old. I'm 52 years old now, so my memory the years might be a little different than they really are. But I played football in high school, 1 year in college, and then obviously my previous career being a bail bondsman, I was pretty rough on my body. Sometimes you had to kick indoors and you had to wrestle with defendants, things like that. So I was pretty rough on my body. Well, going into my 30s, I'd started noticing kind of a weird gait with how I was walking. Had a lot of back pain, some nerve stuff, which I didn't know at the time. But
now, were you working out at this time as well?
Oh yeah, I've always been in the gym and trained. I mean, obviously I took times off or whatever, but yeah, I've been training since I was 14. So I never took a big substantial amount of time off. But so early 30s, I noticed a weird gait, had a lot of back pain, so I decided to go to a back surgeon, X-rays, MRIs, all that stuff. And I don't know if it was playing football or just my profession, but I had some crushed vertebrae. I believe it was between my shoulder blades, like I think they call it thoracic. I can't remember the exact vertebrae.
So they were like, you say they were crushed?
I had pieces of two vertebrae that were, parts of them were lodged in my spinal cord. So that's when, and I didn't know any better, so that's when the surgeon started suggesting surgeries. Well, long story short, 4 surgeries later, a little bit less pain, but more complications. So I'd never walked with crutches or a cane before those surgeries, but then afterward, I started having balance issues and nerve damage in my leg. So basically, it feels like I'm always walking in boots knee deep in mud. That's as far as how hard it is to pick up my legs when I walk.
It's just heavy.
Yeah, my legs are always heavy. That type and I have different nerve things go on with them. Like sometimes they shake. So, but I don't let it slow me down. So after the 4th surgery, I decided I'm not having any more surgery. Screw that. So I just keep going, and I try different things to make things better or improve my situation. I've had steroid shots. I've done some other stuff, but till they come up with some really cool like bionic skeletal legs that I can afford and I can start running again.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I don't mind answering those questions. I don't let it get me down. If I have any advice for anybody who thinks their situation physically is helpless, and say I can't go to the gym, I can't do this. I've had doctors tell me to stop working out. I've had them tell me, you won't have as much pain if you just quit going to the gym. I guarantee you I would be in much worse shape, maybe in a wheelchair, if I was not somewhat in shape or physical. I mean, I really believe it.
Oh, and I mean, you're a prime example of it. I mean, without a doubt, I promise you. It's one of those two, like, whenever they kind of figured out what was wrong, whenever they saw the issue, I mean, was surgery the only option? Or was it one of those where they gave you the ultimatum?
No, it was the only option, and I was young enough at the time and gullible enough at the time where when a surgeon tells you, we're going to get you fixed up, we're going to, you're going to be back to normal in no time. And once you get to a certain point after the first 2 surgeries, you're like, might as well keep going.
Yeah.
Well, you're an inspiration for so many to not give up, to keep pursuing in that aspect. And one of the first times I actually saw you, you were doing bodybuilding. Yeah. And I think it was in maybe Tipton at the time. But yeah, tell us about that a little bit.
So my wife, Sandra, when I met her, when we started dating, she was prepping for a bodybuilding contest at that time. She's done, sorry, honey, if I'm wrong. She's done, I think, 4 or 5 shows and done really well.
She was in it before you then.
Yes.
She got you into it.
She was in it as far as competing before I was.
Gotcha.
So then I was, I want to say probably 3-4 years ago. I've only done 1 show, but I wanted to know what it was like, and I wanted to, because of my situation, like I never make excuses, but I wanted to be able to accomplish. I thought it'd be able to be cool to accomplish something like that. and see how good of shape I can get my body in.
Oh yeah.
And because it is a little bit challenging for me to do, I can't just go do an hour of cardio on the Stairmaster or a treadmill. I did it a lot more with diet.
You know what's crazy is like, call me ignorant, that never even occurred.
Yeah.
And that just get like,
So
then I sit here and I go, oh damn, like how much harder that had to be.
Exactly. And like whenever I first met you, it was one of the things like you were literally on a Stairmaster when I first met you. And I was just like, man, I'm like, that guy's in shape. I'm like, he looks big. He's awesome, you know? And then when you got off of it is when I noticed.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, now what? And, and of course, like that, just out of sheer respect, I'm like, oh, I don't bring that up. I'm not going to talk to you about
that.
You know, but it's one of those where it's like, of course, my first thought was that could be MS. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure that's
and
probably what a lot of people.
A lot of people think that. I mean, because of the way I do walk.
Right.
A lot of people think that. And by the way, if you do see me in the gym, you can always come up and say hi. Like I because of our business and we're busy all the time, some people think I'm an a-hole sometimes because I go in the gym, put my earbuds in, don't look up, and I get my workout done and I get out of there. But I promise I'm not a dickhead.
Oh, trust me.
Can I say that?
You're good. Okay. Oh yeah, no, let it fly. You're fine. We all do that. Trust me. Because we're all in that business and we see everybody. So it's one of those like, when you walk in the gym, they're gonna see you too, and they're like, oh hey, and then they want to come talk to you. And like, there are days it's like, hats on, headphones, look down. It's like, don't bother me. I'm on a mission.
I joke with a couple of retired guys in there. I'm like, dude, I got to finish my workout. Like, you don't have anything to do when you leave here. You're trying to figure out if you're going to go play golf or go home. Like, I got to go back to work, my man. I'll talk to you later. But it's all good.
Well, that's hilarious too, is because I think one other misconception a lot of people have is the three of us in general.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that, it's happened many times. Like, what about your competitor? And I say, guys, we don't look at it like that.
No.
We're all friends here. And it's like, competition is variety, and variety is good.
Yeah.
It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Good for everybody.
We've said it, like we've sent people your way plenty of times. We know you've sent them our way. And, we talked about this in the last podcast we did. It's people helping people.
Yep.
It's like, we don't want to always rely, we're a franchise store. We don't always want to rely on the big corporate guy.
Yeah.
It's like, you've worked hard to get to where you're at. You have a great business, and we think that people should support that.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
We respect you. We love your business. We've been there before.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing stuff.
Your pizza bowls and your cheeseburger bowls.
Oh, man.
We do healthy food, and we think we do the best tasting healthy food around. And GNC does supplements, energy drink. I mean, GNC does what they do. We do what we do. We don't try to compete with that. In fact, we support them. I don't want to get into that business because I stay in my lane. We do, even though we do maybe sell a few of the same products.
Right.
In my eyes, it's no competition. If anything, it's a way to support each other.
That's exactly it, and that's what I was going to say. It's just our little community helping each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're such a small business. Like, there's drinks that I'll be out of, and I'll come to GNC and buy them.
Oh yeah,
because I'm like, I got to have my drink,
exactly,
or a certain supplement that I want, and I would rather, if it's most likely something I don't carry, I would rather come to your shop, buy it locally, than ordering online or whatever, because I want to support another small business. So no, the only thing I will say is, competition is a great thing, but we've had some people try to mimic us, and I'm just going to call it what it is, just straight copy off of it. And not far from here, but I mean, and I don't want to sound like I'm arrogant, but when that does happen, we want to destroy the company.
Well, of course.
Does that make sense?
Hey, exactly.
Like, go ahead. If you think it's easy, go ahead and do it. But hey, make sure your whole menu is not named exactly the same as our menu. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So we've had, and I don't want to name any names, but we've had uh, people in towns 30 minutes from us come get food for us for 6 months straight, and then to learn our business. Whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, wow. But at the end of the day, we're not worried about it. There's things I've learned in business is you can't make decisions off of reacting what your competition does or what other businesses do. Stay your course, keep doing what made you successful, and things are going to, work out, or, your product's going to speak for itself. You just keep hustling, and everything works out.
It does, and and you are a prime example of like that. Keep hustling, keep
Yeah.
making it work. You
Absolutely.
got no choice. There's no time to slow
You
down.
gotta- if you're in business for yourself, there's a huge misconception that everybody, people, I want to make my own hours. I want to own my own business.
Right? Yeah.
You can make your own hours, but if you want your business to be successful, you're gonna work a lot more than you're gonna take on.
Oh, exactly, and especially like for you, with your own business, it's 24/7.
Absolutely.
There is no breaks for
No.
you.
No.
There can't be.
You're always working. You're always thinking about the next move. Not to mention the things that go wrong throughout any given day that you have to pivot, adjust to, and things like that. But given those things, I would change it for the world. I don't think Sandra would either. We love what we do. We love the support we get here, and
Exactly. Now, like whenever you all first started that business, I'm sure you all had like a business motto that you wanted to follow through and everything.
Mhm.
Like we're going to give the people nutritious meals that is convenient, it's easy, and everything like that. Now that you've had this for a few years and it's grown to what it is, it's a massive success. People
Thank
know
you.
about it everywhere. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
We use it all the time too. I couldn't tell you how many times somebody has showed up to GNC and we're trying to eat our lunch, on the go, and then there's like, what the hell is that? It smells good,
Right.
And then we have to look at her like, oh yeah, this is so and so or whatever it is, And it's another really good thing too that I've always loved about like your all's variety, because it's a variety. It's a great menu.
Yep.
That's what is amazing about it. It's there's something for everybody, and
You
that's
got
what
it.
I love. And even for myself, of course, trying to prep and stuff like that. Whenever I was like into the powerlifting thing, it's like, well, going off of your meals, I was noticing I was like, this is just too convenient. It's too easy. I can't make it as good as this.
Right.
It's not going to taste the same, and my macros aren't going to be the same. It's
Right.
like, why do I need to do all the hard work? You've already done it for me. You
Sure.
have simplified it to just eat this. This is what it is. This is your macros. It's all laid out for you. There it is. And it's like that simplicity and the convenience of that was, it made the world a difference. It was absolutely amazing.
That's what we try to do.
Well, just like looking at it, one thing I know all three of us can agree on with the meals as well. The lack of knowledge and the lack of understanding about how much protein you need day to day
Mhm.
and the balance in those meals, that is I think that knowledge is just so lackluster today. And
Yes.
it's like a lot of your meals, they are high in protein.
Mhm.
And, the FDA, I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but I think they said like 67 grams is all you need in a day.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Maybe to survive.
Yeah,
that's all you
maybe.
need, but,
Yeah.
but
we want our meals, or from the beginning. So, like, we wanted to make healthy meals that taste great that anybody would love. So, there's one of the biggest misconceptions is that, they're just for bodybuilders, or they're just for people trying to lose weight. Now, I will tell you that we have tons of people that either eat them to lose weight or to be healthier or because they have health issues, or we have bodybuilders as well. But because our meals taste so good and they're so fresh and we use such high quality ingredients, that's what makes it great. We have truck drivers who don't want to go to the don't want to go to the drive-through. We have elderly people that don't have a whole family to cook for anymore, but they need to eat healthy. We have diabetic customers, customers with heart problems. We have moms that are too busy, dads that are too busy. We have people that want to lose weight and have no idea how to do it, but have failed other ways and just want it to be simple. And that's what we do.
Well, I was just gonna ask, like, I mean, especially in nowadays, with the market on everything, especially food. I mean, for how high things have gotten, has that, how has that impacted on your business so far? I mean, with just the gradual raise and everything.
Absolutely. That's been, after COVID and with all the challenges with, shipping and food costs and food going up has made a huge impact on a lot of business
Yeah, oh yeah,
because, the average consumer, and I don't blame them, but the average consumer walks in and all they see is the sticker price that they have to pay for something. And I don't expect them to, especially if they're not a business owner, but they don't realize everything that we put into making that meal and how much it costs us. So that is one reason why we do meal deals. Um, there's not food and food in general, even grocery stores, there's not a huge markup on food per item. You make money on the volume that you sell. So I might only on some meals, once your overhead on meals is everything from, it's not just the ingredient, it's the ingredients, the how much you had to pay your employees to make those meals, how much you paid for the container, you know, everything, how much it costs to turn the lights on to make those meals. So we might only make $1.50 on a meal, certain meal, but we offer meal deals, which are a very good deal. So to encourage people to buy in bulk, because our meals are good for 15 days in your fridge, legit fresh 15 days in your fridge, like tastes great, and you can freeze them up to 90 days. So we encourage people to buy them in bulk. If you do buy them in bulk, it ends up, I mean, there are some of our meal deals that you end up paying less than $8 a meal, which you basically have a personal chef for eight. I mean, once you go to the grocery store, make the food, I mean, we have over 20, usually 22, 23 different meal options in our fridges in our store every day. So it's very difficult for you to be able, or the average family to be able to do that on their own, let alone make sure that it's all healthy, clean, balanced food, and the portions are correct.
Exactly.
So when we look at, the risk, because that's what a lot of people don't understand is overhead, like overall overhead and how that actually works, from due to profitability. Like you said, you have employees, you have the lights to keep on, you've got the building, you've got so many little factors other than just food itself.
Yes.
So I want to take it back a little bit. And you said you started over when you were 40. You were in Kansas City.
Yeah.
One, how did everybody take it when you said, like, okay, well, I want to start this, being at where you're at? And two, what was the driving force? What in your mind was like the number one driving force to say, hey, you know what? I'm canceling out all that negativity, if there is any. I need to do this for this reason.
Providing for my family and starting something and being proud of something that Sandra, my wife, and I built ourselves. And I like money. People love making money.
Of course.
Yeah, people, and I don't want to have to not be able to buy my kid. I didn't want to have to not be able to afford to buy my kids something because I get paid on Friday and I work an 8 to 5 job, and this is my paycheck every month, and that's not going to change. So if you want to change it, you got to make it happen yourself. Like, you want to make more money, figure out a good way to go make more money. And I just and lucky for me, I just happen to be married to a woman that's very talented in the kitchen and figuring out how to make healthy food taste great. That, I mean, it was easy. Like, I knew how to hustle, and she had a gift with the meals and very popular. So we had the proof of concept, and then after that, you go get it. You just take the risk and you go make it happen.
Now, with her like doing the meals and all that stuff, does she have like? Is that from a culinary experience, or is that from her like bodybuilding experience?
She doesn't have a culinary background like in college. She has a couple of degrees. Okay. She has a master's. Sorry, don't know exactly what her master's is in. But I believe it may be kinesiology or exercise science or something like that. Um, but no, she just started when she was always a good cook, and then starting uh, for meal prepping for her, doing her own shows, and for me. Then it grew to a couple other people asked her to meal prep for them, and before you know it, it turned into a legitimate business where we need to find a building and a commercial kitchen. You need to quit your teaching job, and we need to go do this. And then that was over 6 years ago, between 6 and 7 years ago, and we haven't looked back ever since.
How was I mean, obviously, I mean, it's only taken off. It's only gotten bigger and better all the time. It's absolutely an amazing thing. I mean, what was the community like? How was the support behind you when you first started? I mean, was it hard to get up and going, or did you find just overwhelming amount of support right off the bat?
So we still have OG customers that got it from us in the very beginning before it was a business. Sedalia, which this market is a small market. It's not a market or a city that you would typically see a business like ours in, let alone a well-established one that's been around for a while. Usually you see them in bigger markets, or you have to get them shipped to you. So Sedalia has been amazing. I'm not gonna lie, it took some time, as everything does. People have to trust you. But Sedalia's been amazing. Like, no matter which direction we go in, I never see us not having a storefront. No matter we decide to franchise our business, or we put stores in bigger cities, which we have a lot of plans, but we've never wanted to go out and get investors. We've always wanted to keep it just with us and do it with just us, so you grow a lot slower when you do that, because you have to have capital to make moves, and so without investors you got to sometimes take time. But we absolutely love Sedalia, the way they've treated the community and how much support we've got. It's been amazing. It really has.
Well, I can tell you, it's just being from part of the community. We ain't gonna let y'all go anywhere else.
No,
I
we're
mean,
not going
you're
anywhere.
stuck here.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, we thank you for that. 'Cause like I say, the service you provide is absolutely amazing.
Well,
And
without people like you coming in the door, we wouldn't be here.
and like speaking of that, just like with the community and like building your brand and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What was your best form of advertisement? You think was it word of mouth?
Word of mouth, and social media, because when you don't have a lot of money to put into advertising. Funny you mention advertising, because if you scroll Instagram, you see all these big names in fitness promoting certain meal prep companies. And I will tell you this, that there are some that aren't very edible, and they spend all their money on advertising and buying up these big names and rely on, we don't care about our quality, we'll just sell as many as we can. So we'll hire all these ambassadors, and that's one thing we said to ourselves, we'll never compromise.
Right.
So, that's been one of those things, word of mouth. And I'm just going to be honest, when your food and your meals are as good as ours are, it makes it very, all I have to tell people is come in. We're trying to grow our wholesale market right now. We recently did an wholesale agreement with Mercy Hospital in Springfield. Friday, we've had, I think, 7 orders we've taken them so far. We took them close to 1,000 meals on Friday.
Really?
Those
awesome.
will be sold out in a week and a half. And Mercy Hospital is a big 900-bed hospital in Springfield.
Yeah.
The best thing about that, when Sandra and I drove up there and met with the head of their nutrition program, cafeteria, is he's an executive chef, and he has a team of people that work under him. And we no sooner, and this makes me really proud of my wife, we no sooner got home that evening, he was texting me already, telling me him and his team thought our meals were amazing. When can he place the first order? That makes it really easy to sell
amazing.
Our product. We let our products be. There's no gimmicks, nothing. Like our food is what we tell you it is. we have food vendors that will try to, we can save you some money if you go down to 90-10 ground beef instead of 93-7.
Mm-hmm.
Or there are other meal prep companies that do this, some of them that ship, or some in other bigger cities. We can use 90-10 and mix it with 93-7, or we can, and they'll cut corners just to make a couple extra bucks. We will never do that. If that's the difference between us franchising or not being able to franchise because our margins aren't big enough, we're going to stick true to what we do. I think that's the only way. I mean, another example, we only use basmati rice instead of jasmine rice. A lot of meal prep companies use basmati rice. Has a lot lower glycemic levels, so it's better if you're diabetic.
Yep. Won't be spiking insulin and things like that.
So and it's more expensive than the jasmine rice. So we only use cage-free organic egg. I mean, now there are some things I can't use all grass-fed organic beef. I mean,
right.
I don't want my customers to have to pay $18 for a cheeseburger.
Exactly.
But we do our best to provide only the highest quality and never frozen meal.
So, like with trying to maintain that quality, that high quality that you all have,
yeah.
To show, obviously through the taste and how it all looks. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. Whenever, we was going through like COVID and then how the market has been with prices raising and, unavailability and things like on certain things, have you all had to change your menu to support that a little bit better? Have you had to kind of rearrange it in a sense where it's like, this isn't readily available as much, so let's maybe move towards this route for a while until that comes back? I mean, have you all had to do that quite a bit?
Absolutely. Not a lot, because we have so many menu items that we can rotate in and out that it's been a few. But with having so many meals that taste great, that are popular, it's not as hard if you have to rotate one or two out because an ingredient or something you can't get or has gotten too expensive. We used to have a steak that we loved, that our customers loved, and it got so expensive that we stopped offering it. We haven't brought it back yet because we are so picky. We want to stand by our food that we haven't found that we love, or in the right price range where we don't have to charge our. I'm shaking.
No, you're fine. You're
talking with my hands.
Hey, we all do.
That our customers, we want to still be in a price range that our customers, can afford. So that is, and when people ask about raising prices on meals, the last thing a business owner wants to do is raise.
Exactly.
We don't do it unless we absolutely have to.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I mean, if you're buying one of our meal deals and you're paying $8 a meal, you have to look at the value in my eyes. You have to look at going to the grocery store, what you're paying, what you're wasting at home, the time it takes you to make those meals, and the value of eating a meal that's a healthier meal is going to give you more.
Well, the other thing, and things that people sleep on, I mean, the fridges, everything along those lines. I always like to ask entrepreneurs and business owners that have made it as far as you have successfully to say, hey, what was that shock purchase? Because there's always something, I don't think it's that uncanny factor, that X factor kind of comes in out of nowhere and you're like, oh man, where did this expense come from? And people don't understand that, and they need to, because again, when you're making $1 off a meal, it's like they don't understand. It's like, that could be going towards something, paying off something, a big piece of equipment.
Absolutely.
And it's not just magically done.
Right, absolutely. So a couple of things. You can't get caught up. So say I get a check from our wholesale for the $1,000 meal order we got for the hospital. Mm-hmm. Well, then a couple of days later, I get the bill from the food vendor that it took to make those. So I'm like, oh wait, that whole check's not ours. That's not necessarily a shock, but I think the biggest, and I want to say toughest, but again, it wasn't, because we knew it's what we had to do to grow, was we bought a state-of-the-art machine a little over a year ago to switch our containers and our sealing process to improve it to the point where our meals are legitimately fresh, keep their color, keep their freshness, in your fridge for 15 days after we prep it, up to 20 days, and they freeze much better, and they are sealed in a way which makes them safe to ship. So we spent $12,000 on that machine, and we hold our breath all the time that it's not going to go out on us, because if it does,
Right.
you can't just go out and buy it back up, just because. So it was something we had to do, and I think it took us to that next level and gave us. I mean, there's no way we would have gotten wholesale contracts to put our meals in larger businesses or hospitals or gyms or anything like that without having that professional packaging and that better sealing process.
So whenever you like really got into the business, like of course, always a big investment right off the bat is finding the brick and mortar to actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course when you're in the food business, you can't do it out of the garage.
Right, exactly.
They're big on that. Like, can't do that.
No, you can't.
I mean, they are strict.
Which now that we're at the point where we are, I'm happy. If you want to compete with us and you want to do that, then take the steps you need to do. Go all the way. Don't try to take shortcuts. Don't try to compete with me by cooking meals out of your kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to.
No.
You put 100% in it or don't do it. Because people try it and have tried it around this area, but there's something to be said. We've worked hard to earn our reputation, and there's something to be said for people that I know what kitchen this food is made in. I know that it's regulated by the health department.
Yeah.
I know the people that own the business. I can walk in the store and look at the food and see where it's prepared at, things like that. So that's huge, especially when it comes to food.
Exactly.
Don't trust somebody that. I have nothing against anybody that's hustling. But you can't trust somebody who's just posting, "Hey, look, it's Sheila's Healthy Meals," and you just have a Facebook page and pictures of a few meals here and there, and text me to place an order, and especially if they're putting the macros and the calories and the ingredients. You got to be able to trust that.
Well, that's another thing too that I was going to bring up was label transparency.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge thing in
Absolutely.
today's market, because I know people like me that I like knowing the breakdown of what I'm getting.
Right.
I don't want a proprietary blend to where I have to guess.
Absolutely.
Has that always been a thing for you all, like going right off the bat, like we need to break this down so people know exactly what's in this?
Yes, that's huge for us. I mean, obviously we have a couple of signature sauces, so we'll put the main ingredients on those, but it is very important to us that people know that it's not just ground beef. It's 93.7 ground. It's not just soy sauce. It's gluten-free soy sauce or whatever it is, Or this pizza is made with cauliflower crust, not this kind of crust. And if a meal that she prepares tastes amazing, but the calories and the macros don't fit our business model, or the portion's not correct, or we don't do it.
Now, do you try to have meals that kind of hit every market in a sense? Like if you have somebody with celiac, like you were just saying, like, okay, instead of like regular dough or crust, this is, like a gluten-free.
Absolutely.
Like you all try to do that as much as you can.
We do. We don't. So because we have such a big variety, we have pretty much something for everything.
Okay, good.
We don't like to cater, and I say like to because our business model is based on teaching people to eat and developing a healthy lifestyle that they can sustain. So I don't want to say we do have keto-friendly meals, but we don't just strictly make keto meals, because as a lifetime choice, for a short diet or to crash, lose some weight, or if you're prepping for bodybuilding, I mean, keto's great. I mean, if it helps you lose 60 pounds in 90 days, that's great. But, I mean, it's not sustainable.
Exactly.
So we don't cater to, these fad diets, I guess, or elimination diets typically. Most of our meals will have a little higher protein. I say clean, for lack of a better word I'm thinking of, but clean carbs, whole food.
Right.
Most of our meals are higher protein, moderate carbs. When somebody says low carbs, I'm like, it's like low carbs relative, but I consider low carb. We have plenty of meals that have very, very low carbs, and then we have a bunch of meals that have they might have 40 grams of carbs, but that carbs is from basmati rice
Exactly.
or potatoes.
Well, I'm with you on the keto aspect. It's like I know being in our business, it's like we know it's effective. We know there's people that are diehard and they actually do the research. You know, I can't tell you how many times people come in and they want a keto pill,
Yeah,
and they think they think that's it.
Yeah.
They think, oh, but that's what they said on
Oh,
Shark Tank,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you have to be implemented into the dietary plan.
Yeah.
But I would say my biggest beef with it isn't the fact that, okay, yes, it can be an effective way to lose weight. What kills me with it is I see a lot of the people lose the weight, and then they want to gain muscle, and they want to build,
Right.
and they're scared to eat.
Yeah.
Then I tell them, I'm like, well, you kind of dug yourself in a hole there.
Right.
I'm like, you have to be willing to reintroduce carbs. It's not you don't have to, but to have an efficient way of doing it and doing it the way and the time frame of what you want, it's way more beneficial for you to reintroduce carbs.
Right.
And like you said, definition of low carbs can be anywhere from 20 carbs a day to those people to 150 carbs a day.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid of food. I mean, it's usually, and not to sound crude or rude, but people that want a quick fix, you didn't get overweight overnight. You're not going to lose it.
Exactly.
It takes time and nothing. I mean, and it takes sacrifice. But that's where we come in. We just try to make it as easy for people and as most like home cooking or going out to eat without sacrificing too much with the taste of our meals. But one thing we try not to do is we do food. Yes, we do healthy food and it can help you lose weight, but we do food. I'm not going to be your personal trainer.
Right.
I'm not going to be your nutritionist. I'm not going to write you a diet plan. I will, teach you the basics and provide the food that will help you be successful in whatever, goals you have as far as your health. But I tell people to be wary of somebody who is, hey, I'll prep your meals for you. I'm also an expert in diets. I'm also an expert. I'm a life coach. I'm a
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we see a lot of that nowadays.
You sure do.
That is so prevalent.
And don't get me, I don't hate on people for hustling. Make your money how you can.
Right.
But, focus on what you do great. And don't try to mislead people or do too much. And that's when we have tons of people that lose weight on our food, and some stories they come in and tell me, and I'm like, holy cow, man. I mean, guys that have lost 80 pounds, and they'll just come in one day and tell me, and we don't post all those success stories because I don't want it to just be about that.
Exactly.
I want people that don't give a shit about losing weight to come in and just because our food tastes good.
Yes.
Yeah, you want them to generally understand that getting good food is important.
Yeah.
And just like you said, it's like you're in the food business.
Yeah.
You're trying to get people, it's like, you need to eat.
Yeah.
That is what's required.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest thing. Like, we have to tell people all the time, especially like coming into GNC, and we're like, listen, 99% of everything that's in here is for recovery.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's one thing that is required with all of it. They go, what? I'm like, you have to eat.
Yeah, you have to eat.
Because they're like, well, I want to lose weight, or I want to gain muscle, or I'm trying to get big, or trying to get small. And it's like, it's the same thing, people.
That's
this
why
is
they're
so simple. Eat food.
That's why they're called supplements.
Exactly.
They're a supplementation to add to a good diet or a good workout program.
Well,
and they're great, and they serve a great purpose. But if you want to get the most for your money when you're buying supplements, throw in the other stuff, get the other stuff along with it, and you'll see amazing results.
That's the biggest thing, because when I hear diet, people, they always want to diet.
I know, I hate that word.
I do too, and I'm like, it's nutrition. It's a lifestyle change. It's not a diet. Diet
absolutely.
to me means short term.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But it's one of those too where I have to tell everybody, and especially like when I tell them, it's like, go to SC Fuel and look, because people, especially on a nutrition plan or quote unquote diet, they always focus on the things they can't have.
Sure.
Versus what is actually available to them. And it's like when they think, well, what the hell? I can't have this. I can't have this. Well, what can I have?
Very good point.
Go to SC Fuel and look in the fridge.
Right.
All of that you can have. It's like, quit focusing on the minor shit you can't have.
Absolutely.
And focus on all of this wonderful stuff that is right there available for you.
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I promise you, it's one of those, like I tell people, it's like, if you're hungry, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like
You don't have to starve yourself.
No, that's the worst thing you could do. It's like, there's only one way to fuel metabolism. You have to eat.
And there's a huge misconception. I'll have big guys come in and look at a 400-calorie meal and say, oh, I could eat 3 of these. That's not enough food. Healthy, clean food with higher protein fills you up so much more. You don't. Now, if you're going all day working at a factory or doing construction and you haven't ate all day and you're used to going to the drive-thru and getting 6 cheeseburgers and that's the only meal you eat at night,
right?
And then you fall asleep from a coma on the couch right afterwards, then that's one meal's going to be probably not big enough. But if you do it the right way and you just consistently, you'd be amazed at the amount of energy you have, and you won't be as hungry as you think you are.
Exactly, and that's another big thing that people always misconstrued is protein and carbs and like what they're doing, because we have to explain it all the time. We're like, guys, listen, 1 gram of protein, 4 calories, 1 gram of carb, also 4 calories. But I always separate it out. I'm like, all right, if I had 12 ounces of potato chips, if I had a little bag of potato chips here, like, think you could eat that pretty easily? And people's like, well, yeah, I could crush that down and pour it down my throat, be gone and be done. It's
Absolutely.
Like, exactly, we all could. But if I had a 12-ounce ribeye, how's that going to make you feel after you're done eating that? And they go, oh, man, I'll be stuffed. I'll be done. I'm like, that's the difference.
Yeah.
They're the same amount of calories.
Right.
It's the same weight.
Right.
And they go, oh, I didn't even think about it that way. I'm like, that's why protein is so important, people. It's satiating. It makes you full.
Yeah.
You can indulge on carbs all day long. All you're going to get is a headache.
Yeah.
Carbohydrates turn into sucralose, which is sugar for the brain. People overdo it, sugar rush.
Headache and belly fat.
Yeah, but but it is, and people, they tend to do that because we all indulge in carbs. Yeah. Because it's too easy to eat.
Absolutely.
That's why I always say it's like, get your protein in first.
Yep.
Because when you look at it in a caloric aspect, even if you're a 200-pound man and you're like, man, I need 200 grams of protein a day, it's like, man, that's crazy. That seems like so much. And it's like, it's only 800 calories. And they go, what? I'm like, 4 calories a gram. Do the math. It's simple. Like, it's not that much.
But it's a lot easier to eat 800 or 200 grams of carbs that are funner for people than 200 grams of protein.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But that's why I always tell them too. I'm like, but there are so many good carbs available. The low glycemic carbs, just like what you was talking about. Once it's not spiking insulin, messing with blood sugar, doing all that stuff that's hurting,
And if I would have known what I know now about nutrition or paid attention when I was young, when I had good genetics when I was younger, I would have walked around with my shirt off all the time. Because if I would have ate the amount of protein when I was younger and training that I should have been eating,
you could still walk around with your shirt off.
Well,
mister. Don't even.
Nobody wants to see the 52-year-old man walking around with shirt off.
You're right.
I got to throw this in there. Oh, my pet peeve. At the store. I get it if a parent's on a budget and they have to do what they have to do.
Sure.
My number one pet peeve is when a child asks for a bar and they say, that's an adult bar.
Yeah.
Or you won't like that bar.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking to myself, please don't tell them that. Don't rot their brain with that information. Yeah. It's like that. We need better health education in macros and food for high schoolers these football players. If I can't go to any high school and go to their football team, get them in an assembly, go, okay, how many of you know what a macro is? If all those high school students don't raise their hand, I'm looking at the coach. What's wrong? It's like you want healthy, strong athletes.
Yeah.
But we also have to teach these parents that protein is an essential calorie.
Yeah.
Kids need it. It's like they want their kids to grow up big and strong, but you're going to tell them a protein bar is bad.
Yeah, but a quarter pounder of cheese is fine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we see it all the time in that,
Oh, yeah.
Do you have many people that come to you asking about like meals for kids or anything like that?
Our meals are very popular for kids.
Right.
Like, we don't have to do special meals for them. I mean, we have parents that buy meals for their kids in junior high or middle school or high school because they don't like the school lunch. And they want them to eat healthier and have some say in what they eat. So, very popular for kids. The little kids love our protein balls.
We all
Protein
do.
ball
We all
snacks.
do.
They're amazing. They are much healthier than eating a candy bar. They're very good. The protein we use to make them is very high quality protein. We have several flavors. Kids love those babies.
Hey, we all do. We all do,
Thank
Chris.
you.
Man, and
Appreciate that.
like I say, thank you all so much for what you do, the service that you provide this community. I mean, having SC Fuel in this town has been a tremendous benefit for the entire town.
Appreciate
that.
Not
only in the nutritional or fitness industry, but for everybody.
Thank you.
I mean, that's the greatest part about it. When you can go to a place like that and get a healthy lunch, you know what I mean? That's quick, convenient, easy, tastes absolutely amazing. I mean, that's hard to beat.
Right.
And you don't have to fight the hustle and the battle.
If it wasn't for the people in Sedalia, we wouldn't be here. So we want to thank everybody in Sedalia and Warrensburg. We have a store in Warrensburg also. We want to thank all of them. I mean, the community's given us so much support. They keep coming back. We have customers that keep coming almost every day, and we just can never tell you guys appreciate it.
Exactly. And like I say, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Like I say, it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
absolutely.
on.
I'm
Kind of
happy
tell us
to
a
be
little
here.
bit about it,
Have to do it again.
Oh, definitely. No doubt about it. We will bring you
We'll
back.
see how many viewers we get first. So
Exactly.
we need to, come on, guys.
And like I say,
Hit that
people,
sub
if you
button.
have
Yeah.
questions, leave a comment. We're going to leave all of his links and stuff in the bio. That way you can go right to them. How many locations did you say you have?
We have 2 physical locations in Warrensburg at 109 North Holden Street,
Okay.
and in Sedalia at 3210 West 16th Street in the strip mall across the street from State Fair College. Both of those locations are, you just grab and go. You don't have to order. You can walk in the store when we're open and grab all the meals you want, look at them, pick them up, read the label, the macros, all that.
Are the hours the same at both stores?
The hours are not the same at both stores. If you do follow our social media pages, we have the hours posted there, or our website. You can also order online for next day in-store pickup or shipping at scfuelmeals.com or at myscfuel.com. If you follow our social media pages, Instagram at scfuelmeals, we have our hours on there. The Sedalia store is open Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Warrensburg is, we're not as busy on the weekends, so we're not open there. We're open there Monday through Thursday.
Gotcha. Perfect. Well, there you go, guys. You heard it from the man. Like I say, go give him a visit. Go check it out. Like I say, you will not be disappointed. I mean, I'm telling you, that food is absolutely amazing. I always kind of said it's a little bit dangerous because of how good it is.
Appreciate that.
Like an old boy saying, I could eat 3 of them. We all could.
Yeah,
Trust
right.
me.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Like I say, it's absolutely amazing.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you
Hey,
so
thank
much,
you.
Chris. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up here. We want to thank our sponsors one more time. We're going to start with GNC and then Forever Tent and Showcase Sedalia. We just, again, we thank you, Chris. We thank everybody that has liked, subscribed. Please check out the link in the bio for his website. We can't support him enough. We can't tell you how great it is to have you and get good stories and good information.
Like and subscribe.
Like and
to the
subscribe,
pod.
people. Keep it going. Like I
Thank
say,
you,
it's
brother.
people
I want
helping
to see
people.
big numbers on this episode.
Yeah.
I'm
There you
very
go.
competitive, so I got to.
That's right. Let's blow it up, guys. Let's blow it up.
All right, well, we're going to take it home. We're going to do it the normal way. We're going to point at the camera. Let's go. There it is. All right.
Awesome.
Who are you?